I believe we were able to get two very dangerous criminals off the street, and one of the intangibles of how many lives were saved because of their work and efforts that contributed to this arrest. And it also goes without saying that compliments and kudos to the other agencies, our partners that helped us in bringing this case and solving it and making these arrests. First, the Union County Sheriff's Office, phenomenal in their efforts in helping us make the arrest. Marshville Police Department as well. South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED, Federal Bureau of Investigations, and Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office. Without their help and without the efforts that they put forth as well, we wouldn't be where we are today. But I think our streets are a lot safer because of all of the work and effort that was put forth. And I'm proud to be able to introduce now Lieutenant Crum, who's going to give you some more information about the investigation and where we are today with this case. Just to finish up on my end, the work is not done. I think that these arrests, it's just beginning. There's a lot of things that we have to look into as well, and Lieutenant Crum will be able to explain that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So I'm just going to walk you guys through the start of the investigation, let you know how we've gotten to where we are today. This began on April 4th, that's Easter Sunday. Officers responded to 3105 Queen City Drive, that's the Quality Inn, where they found Jada Peterson, 29, deceased of a gunshot wound. We began in earnest of that investigation. We processed the scene, obviously sent off forensics as we typically do, and we're awaiting the return of some information there. So as detectives progressed through her investigation, we were gathering additional information and moving in a very positive direction. On April 15th at about 2:20 in the morning, officers responded to 8525 North Tryon Street, that's the sleep inn in the University Division. When they arrived there, they found Remy Fennell, deceased of a gunshot wound as well. The circumstances of her murder were sufficient to start raising concerns immediately. I was contacted by my sergeant on the scene, and we started making connections between the two investigations. So we have, at this point, two squads working investigations in parallel with one another. So we immediately begun pushing forward on that investigation. As we continued pressing through the day, gathering evidence and receiving information, we realized there was more and more similarities, which is why we thought that it was important that we push that information out to the public so that they could be aware that there was a concern that there was someone out there, or these two crimes were linked, and there was somebody out there that posed a danger to a very fragile and dangerous community that's potentially endangered. So the department continued to leverage all of our collective resources. I can't understate that this was such a tremendous team effort. We brought in not just the homicide unit, the crime scene unit, our laboratory worked long and late hours. Our lab director is actually down here today. I mean, his folks did a tremendous job putting in the time to be able to get these results back to us quickly so that we could leverage those in our investigations. Criminal intelligence, the real-time crime center, our armed robbery unit, VCAT, our cyber crimes unit, our crime analysis folks, our analysts down there are tremendous. Everyone pitched in and kind of moved their little piece of the pie in order to get us to where we are today. So everyone continued working throughout the night, and that's what got us to this morning. Early this morning, VCAT, along with the Union County Sheriff's Office and Marshville PD, were able to arrest Joel Brewer, who was born May 25th of 1987, and Dontarius Long, born May 9th of 1999, for the murders of Jada and Remy. They've been charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of firearm by felon, 1 count of robbery with a dangerous weapon, as well as 1 count of conspiracy to commit robbery with a dangerous weapon. I can tell you that our investigation has advanced to the point where I feel confident in telling you there is no one else at large that was a part of this. These 2 individuals and these 2 individuals alone are responsible for Jada and Remy's murder. So it's very early in the investigation. I can tell you that we've been hard charging from the beginning at finding out who the people were responsible, identifying them and getting them in custody. As far as what motives are, certainly there's concerning similarities between the two, but we're still really at a position where we're trying to understand the who, and now we're very slowly breaking it down to understand the why. So that work's going on right now as we stand here and talk. We're kind of doing more of a deep dive into the motivations behind these 2 horrible crimes. I think it's important also that because it's early in the investigation, we're also broadening the scope of our investigation to determine if there are other victims. We don't think there are any recently here in the Charlotte area. However, there could be others outside of our jurisdiction. We're looking into those potentials as well as other victims who may not have reported being the victims of crime from these two individuals. So it's important that our community, they contact us and let us know. We'd really like to talk to you in person. Oftentimes we ask for anonymous tips, but what we'd really like to do is speak to victims. If there are additional victims out there, we can't urge enough that they call us, that they can reach us at the tip line, which is 704-432-TIPS. They can also contact 911. They can contact our homicide unit directly. There's email addresses if they're comfortable with that, as well as telephone numbers posted on the internet. But if there's additional information that someone has, we really, really want them to give us a call. I can take a few questions from you guys.
Were they targeting transgender?
At this time, I can tell you both of our victims were transgender women. I'm sorry, the question, I'm going to repeat it just for those that are streaming, was were they targeting transgendered victims? We know both of our victims, these cases were transgendered women, which is very concerning to us. We don't know the full scope, again, very early on. So we just have kind of these two cases to look at, but that's something we're certainly looking into further.
Were the suspects related or had any personal connections to the victims?
The question is, were the suspects related to the victims in any way? It does not appear that they knew one another outside of this one encounter.
Did the two suspects know each other?
The question is, did the two suspects know each other? Presumably, yes. I mean, we know they've been together at least on these two occasions. They arrived together and left together, and they were both from Union County. But as far as what the specifics of their relationship is, we don't know. We're still looking into that.
Can you talk a little bit about, there was a little confusion in our newsroom about the method of the murders. Were both of these transgender women shot?
Yeah, the question was, were both of these transgender women shot? Yes, both women sustained a gunshot wound.
And there's a lot of concern and fear right now. What message do you have to the community?
The question is, there's a lot of concern and fear right now. What message do we have for the community? I think the first message is that we don't believe that there's any further risk to public safety. I can tell you, I feel very confident today saying we have identified both people involved. There is no evidence anyone else is involved, and we have very, very extensive evidence in both of these cases. For me to say that these are the only two individuals who are involved in these homicides. But I would also caution the community that, you know, people contact us anytime they feel like something's amiss, and even going forward from here, I mean, just be attentive to your surroundings and call 911 if there's anything that you're concerned about.
While these two transgender women were targeted, is there any reason that these could be characterized as hate crimes?
So that's something the question is, could these be characterized as hate crimes? That's certainly something we're looking into. I've been on the phone with people from the FBI, and that's a conversation that we're having on an ongoing basis. I think, as I stated before, that's a huge concern we have. It's just in this case thus far, because of how quickly it evolved, we pursued the two people responsible that were an imminent risk to public safety, got them into custody, and now we're going to step back and dissect what their motives were, and if hate crime charges are appropriate, we'll absolutely pursue those.
The two suspects that you identified, did they solicit sex from these two transgender women, or how did they get into the same room where?
Sure. So the question is, did they solicit sex from the transgender women? The evidence we have, I think we put out yesterday, is that both women were certainly involved in sex work. We believe that there was some sexual activity, and we think that that's how they connected. Specifically how that is, that's something we're looking into as to how they made that connection. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Crump. We know we put a lot of information out there, so we're going to be providing further details for you guys electronically very soon, so please be looking out to your inboxes for that information. So thank you for coming today.